Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Brandy. Today I am going to teach you how to make one of my ultimate favorite recipes in life, buttermilk blueberry breakfast cake. Now, I don't make this recipe very much anymore. I lost a lot of weight a couple years ago, actually cutting foods like this out, and I'm not supposed to eat gluten, but it occurred to me I have Bob's Red Mill 1-to-1 gluten-free flour, and so we can do it gluten-free. Now, if you're not gluten-free, that is not an issue. This flour works, like I said, 1-to-1, so I can just use it in place. If you're following along with all-purpose flour, just do the recipe exactly the way that I'm showing you, or hit the link down below to walk through that recipe, but it should work well either way. If you're using a gluten-free flour, make sure that either it says 1-to-1 or that you add those things to tweak it to make it equal for conventional flour. All right, guys, let's make some breakfast cake. I have been making this buttermilk blueberry breakfast cake for well on 10 years. I want to say 12 years. It has been a long time, and it is so memorable, you guys. The crunchy sugar crust of the top of the bread, the pop of the blueberry as you're eating it, and the secret ingredient that really brightens it up, lemon zest. So this recipe, people remember it, they ask about it, they ask for the recipe. Just if you can get this one under your belt, you've got a secret superpower now. All right, so if you've seen my videos before, you know that I really like this Seiko Pantry buttermilk blend. I don't have to keep buttermilk on hand. I don't even have to keep milk on hand. It's great. So we've got a half a cup of buttermilk. And you guys, I'm so excited to make this and not have to worry about my hands hurting or my knees hurting or my feet. I've got neuropathy. And so a lot of times when I eat gluten or drink beer, unfortunately, or whiskey, and guys, I'm your whiskey girl. But over the last year, I am unfortunately not your whiskey girl. My feet tingle so badly when I drink it that it has had to be a breakup of sorts. So the gluten-free flour really is a lifesaver, just to be able to open my life up and enjoy the foods I enjoyed before. All right, getting into the recipe. Step number 1, go ahead and get your oven preheated, 350 degrees. Step number 2, you need an 8x8 or a 9x9 dish, greased and floured. Now I have doubled this recipe in a 9x11 and not had any issues at all. The only thing you're gonna do is just probably extend that cook time out a little bit and really watch the middle of it. So our last step to get all of our ingredients portioned out is lemon zest. We do need the zest of 1 lemon. So I've got my microplane here. I cannot seem to find my Just Unitasker lemon zester. I don't know where it went. So having kids will keep you not knowing where your stuff is in the kitchen all the time, but this one will work just fine. It'll give us a nice fine zest that'll go really well into that. Just a little more subtle and not quite as big a zest. And really, hopefully incorporate it out a little bit better. Go ahead and get that into your bowl. And I am not sweeping into the floor. I've got my trash can right there, just so that you know. Our next step is to cream our butter, our lemon zest, and our sugar together until it's light and fluffy. So what we're gonna do is just remove this and get our butter down in. This butter is room temperature. If you forgot to pull your butter and get it to room temperature, you can defrost it for about 20 seconds at a shot and check on it. I can tell you about 1.5 minutes, and it doesn't matter if it's defrost or heat, it is going to melt and you'll have a mess. That is not what you want. You want room temperature, still firm, not liquid, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and get my lemon zest down. And my sugar. And then while I'm at it, I'm gonna scrape the sides, because when you're just dealing with 1 stick of butter, it tends to stick around the sides and you have a little trouble getting it started off creaming there. So we're gonna cream this until it's light and fluffy and a little bit more pulled together. Right now you'll see there are crumbles and it's not exactly pulled together the way we'd like to see. So we're just gonna go ahead and let that run. While our mixer is beating and creaming the sugar, the lemon zest, and the butter, we're gonna go ahead and get our blueberries ready, okay? So this is what we're looking for, is they're just all nice and coated. They are not juicy. If you do not do this, so if you don't cover your blueberries with flour, what is gonna happen is you're gonna end up with green buttermilk blueberry breakfast cake, and unless it's St. Patrick's Day, that's not what we're going for. So make sure that you do toss your blueberries in flour. We're gonna go ahead and put that aside and pull these guys back over to finish creaming. We'll give them a good scrape again, but they look like we're just about ready here. The color's almost spot on. Okay, at this point, we're gonna go ahead and handle our egg and our vanilla. Now with your egg, I would suggest that you crack it into a bowl first. This one had lemon zest in it and it's going into lemon zest, so it's fine. Just to make sure you don't have any shells. It's a lot easier to get the shells out of a bowl this size than a bowl this size. Go ahead and get your egg in and your vanilla. Once you've got that mixed for a few seconds, you are gonna need to get in here and scrape. All right, that is what we're looking for. That is perfect batter as far as starting out. We're gonna slide this out of the way. Okay, so the start of our batter's here. We've got 2 cups of flour here, less the 1/4 cup that we put inside the blueberries to toss. We've got our salt and our baking powder. We're gonna go ahead and put those in there. I've removed our beater for just one moment. We're adding half of our flour mixture into the starter of the batter. Go ahead and add half of your flour mixture and then get it beaten. Get it beat. Beat it good. Beep, 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 beep. No? That looks like it's doing pretty darn well. From there, we are gonna add our 1/2 cup of buttermilk. And as it mixes for a minute, we will pause it here in just a moment and get those sides scraped down again, just to make sure everything is mixing in the way it's supposed to. Now that our buttermilk's mixed in well, we're gonna add the rest of our flour. We've got that turned back on. We're gonna let it finish mixing in. This is gonna be a very thick batter, so don't get worried, don't freak out. It is exactly what it's supposed to be. And it looks so good right now. See how thick this is? This is not a thin pancake batter. This isn't a cake batter. It is a cake batter, but this is the stick to your ribs breakfast kind of cake batter that we all need today. And I'm just making sure that everything's mixed in again. I'm gonna give it one final mix, and then we are gonna go ahead and get it into its pan. That's not right. All right, so our batter is finished. It's time to fold in our blueberries.
I understand that, but how do you fold it? Do you fold it in half like a piece of paper and drop it in the pot, or what do you do?
I'm just gonna use a spoon. We don't need the excess flour, so I'm going to make sure that we leave it off. And if you get a little in there, it's no big deal. Just the idea is not to dump all of your blueberries in. Leave that flour in here. They are really just meant to be there so that the blueberries don't bleed and turn your batter green. Now you're just gonna take your spatula and just gently turn it in until it's part of the batter. Be gentle, you don't wanna crush them, and you don't wanna make them bleed. And you're gonna notice some purple, don't worry about it. Just the idea is you don't need to over mix this. And I think that's pretty good. We've got our pan, it's already greased and floured, and we're just gonna turn this out into our pan. And I told you it is thick. You didn't do anything wrong. There's nothing that you did wrong. This is exactly the way it's supposed to look. All right, so get it smoothed down into your pan and then sprinkle your 1 tablespoon of sugar over the top. You guys, this is seriously, when I say this is one of my favorite recipes, this recipe just makes me happy. Just to think about what it's gonna be when it's finished. I love this. I've had 2 cups of coffee so far this morning, but you better bet that I'm gonna make another one when this gets out. and have a really nice little rainy day blueberry breakfast cake and coffee morning. All right, that is it. You're gonna go ahead and put it in your oven anywhere from 35 to 55 minutes. Keep an eye on it. You're going to toothpick test it to see when it's done. If you hit a blueberry, you'll end up with blue and it will be moist. Don't worry about that. What you're trying to look for right now is the spring back of the cake and the dry toothpick when it does go through cake. We've got breakfast cake. So just listen to that. It took mine about 45, 50 minutes in the oven and then another 15 to cool before you cut into it. And guys, that 15 minutes just crept by. And listen to the crunch from that tablespoon of sugar that we put on the top. I don't know why I'm cutting this into 9 pieces because I really just want to give a piece to Grayson, who's here right now, and just eat the rest. That is a true story right now. And I know there are people who like the edges. My husband is one of them. Thankfully, opposites attract because I like the insides where it's all nice and soft. Oh my gosh, guys, this looks perfect. And it's so jammy. It's still nice and hot from the oven. The crunch on the sugar complements the soft bread on the inside. If I had not made this gluten-free, I would not know that this is gluten-free. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me. If you got value from this video, hit that like button down below, the thumbs up, and also for more recipes, meal prepping, and copycats, hit that subscribe button down below as well. Ring the bell so you don't miss a video. And if you liked this one, you'll probably like this one too.